editing out the waffle.
It's like licking your own food, but if you bring crunchy food to a recording, that's like licking the recording. Do you want a pretzel?
Let's see if my teeth will hold up. Amy, could you intercede?
That's horrifying.
What?
Do you have any new damages this week? Sorry, this fortnight. This is a fortnightly.
Yeah, I yanked another one out.
Yeah.
There's much less. Want me to go get it?
No. So, I am Peter the Paint Goblin, enjoying the sight of Jaimie the Autumn Witch's beautiful terrain, while Amy slowly loses her patience with either of us.
So, if you hadn't gathered, we are Bleeding Tree Gaming, and this is episode 3 of the Treecast. Pete's already introduced himself, so why don't we?
Yes, well, I am the Autumn Witch, aka the sister of Prattle. I haven't pulled out any more teeth today, so...
Oh, good. Yeah, last week's unprompted dental surgery was somewhat of a distraction. I'm Amy, aka Warpfiend, and today our main topic's going to be speculation on the Nova Open reveals. But before we do that, let's have a talk about what hobby we've all been doing this week then. So anyway, we've got this, we're sat in the table in Tammy's front room. There is her completed terrain that you might have seen in part 1 of a video. That's going to be coming soon.
Which apparently looked awful.
Didn't look awful. It looks so much nicer. Oh, for sake, I sound like a mother.
So the table's basically like a little forest, and there's huge trees everywhere. And Tammy also used herb mix. She's going to explain in a video, and it smells like pizza. So
yeah, the entire table smells delicious.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Does anyone want to lick my...
No, but I want to know what the red bits are.
So can you tell us a little about the production without spoiling your video?
Well, quite simply, I have spent the last few years just like absorbing so many terrain creators on YouTube that I decided to go for it. There were a few dead ends that I encountered whilst I was doing it, but I was able to improvise around them. And what I hadn't gotten a gaming mat. I mean, because my normal gaming mat is the Frostgrave one, which is cool for snow-covered
yeah, but it does kind of like limit you to the particular season.
It does. But with this mat, I want to talk about this mat actually, because it's from a guy on eBay who just seems to print them to order, and it's about half the price of what I paid for my Frostgrave one. And this one is PVC. We've just eaten burgers and chips off of it, and you know, there's no staining. It's really good, and I thoroughly recommend it. I'm going to be linking to the guy's eBay.
I got another compliment.
Go on.
Wow, the Frostgrave mat is so nice. This one isn't much different at all. The Frostgrave mat's under it, and it's made of like horrendously expensive neoprene, and this one's just made of PVC, so it looks the same. But
see, the problem with the neoprene is if you spill something on it, it stains.
It soaks in, yeah.
But this PVC mat is fantastic. I mean, I'm talking about someone's gaming mat when I've spent weeks putting together this massive amount of scenery. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with it.
Full table's worth right here.
Yep, it's all going to be in the next video, which will be out by the time this goes out.
Lovely. Look forward to that, and make sure you keep your eyes out for it. That's Tammy's hobby progress for the week.
I have come up with this horrendous paint scheme that I love because it's gaudy and horrible, and I tried terracotta wall paint, then replaced it with red, and I've now dry brushed the terracotta over the red in most of the areas. That's all right. There's something about painting on FDM with acrylic paints is a nightmare for me. Or maybe it's painting something this big with acrylic paints felt like a nightmare. But doing it with wall paint, it's suddenly fun again.
I mean, for an FDM printed model, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks great. I do like the colours. Like they are a bit bolder than you might normally expect, but that looks really good on the tabletop, I think. The red and blues.
And now
Very
I need them.
striking.
I mean, do you know what layer height it was printed at?
It was probably whatever the narrowest was. And I'm trying to work out how to use the Martian Iron Earth paste. I
Oh,
tried
I've got
it
a big-
thick and thin on glossy and matte varnish.
So are you doing basically like a series of experiments to find out what things affect it?
And I might be recording little clips along the way to see what the difference between all this thing
Interesting,
is. But I'm
interesting.
just going to keep making the shitty videos. And I finished making the terrain bait for
Ah, okay, this is
Tammy's
future
thing.
video,
I've got the
so,
little coaster thing, and it's got a little trench. It has a very long straw sticking out of it, and I'm going to cut that off.
We probably
Sounding,
should.
eh?
It sounds like it could cause an injury.
My smug achievement yesterday was, or the day before yesterday, was finishing a whole D&D mini in one day.
Awesome.
And as well, I did a bunch of Stormcast.
You have been busy then. That is a load of stuff. So, right, so most of my progress for the last 2 weeks since we last recorded one, it's been Golden Demon all the way. I've been working on a squad entry, which is the Dark Commune. I've been working on my AOS single miniature entry, which is the vampire from the Crimson
Bisexuals?
Court.
That's the one. Are we allowed to say that word on YouTube?
I assume so.
Okay.
Which word?
Bisexuals.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Nobody believes we exist anyway.
And yeah, there's also part of my diorama there, which I'm trying my best to keep as much of the diorama off of social media, so it's a nice surprise. It's been a ton of work. I have 36 days to go till Golden Demon, and I'm making progress on everything, but I'm not going to get a chance to do much rest or much of anything else before Golden Demon. I am working on recording a video though, and hopefully that should be out in the next couple of weeks or so, where I look at painting the demagogue from the Dark Commune.
So I hadn't realized that you were doing the Dark Commune. I thought you were just torturing yourself with the freehand.
Yes, it was fairly much my last minute addition because I had wanted to do the Torments, I think they were called, from the Chaos Cultists. But I believe
just
that
gone up for pre-order.
they've just gone up for pre-order now. So yeah, obviously I'm leaving it a bit late.
You can do the possessed afterwards as a little treat.
Yeah, afterwards that's probably going to be another entry for another year maybe. Yeah, busy few weeks. So
I'm having a week off.
you're having a week
I'm
off.
having a week off because I've made all this bloody stuff here.
Also, I didn't realize you could enter more than one thing a year.
No, you can enter as many categories as you want. Only one entry in each category, but
I should go to Golden Demon. When do the tickets go on sale?
yes, they have gone.
Oh.
There is no chance of getting a ticket now. If you haven't got one by now, I'm really sorry, but there's no way you're getting one.
You know what you could get, though?
So, the Gellerpox and the Starstriders are being re-released. Now, this is one I don't think anyone saw coming. I think we thought that Rogue Trader Kill Team box from a few years back was like a one-off. But no, you can buy the two groups separately.
I mean, the models are just so cool. It would have been a shame to not ever be able to get them again.
I think a lot of the focus is on the Gellerpox, and I love the Gellerpox because I'm a Nurgle player, as you know. But let's not forget the Starstriders as well are beautiful models. They've got the Cyber Mastiff.
Yes, he's a very good dog. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And I love his silly face.
Yes.
But somebody insisted on merging him with one of the giant leeches.
Yes, that was my conversion to just kind of show the duality of the two sides in that box. I just cut two of them in half and glued them together like that. Also, I really like the Death Cult Assassin and the medical officer and all those little characters they get.
As I said about Cato, the Black Library character who's
Oh, this
shown
is
up.
the vampire, isn't it?
Emperor, give me strength to only buy one.
Yeah, you were shipping that vampire with the
Yeah, but that
Queen of
that-
Monstrosities or whatever she's called.
yeah, they're dating.
That is certainly a relationship I'd love to bear witness to.
We might need a content warning.
So what do we have next? Stormbringer magazine.
Yeah, so I guess having grown up without Partworks magazines breaking my heart, now that I'm a grown up and can just buy them, it's amazing, it's magical, and from my understanding of manufacturing, this sort of makes more sense. Every week-ish you get magazine with more toy.
Yeah, Partworks was something I remember getting like a couple of them as a kid, but I'd get the first few episodes and then
Sorry.
edit out Tammy's alarm going off. So yeah, I got a couple of Partworks magazines as a kid. You know, I'd get the first couple of parts and then just kind of forget about it. I have to say, out the Warhammer ones, I've been tempted. It's just like constant money drain for a lot of models. But I have to say, I only got the what's the latest one? Imperial magazine.
Yeah.
I only got subscription to that magazine because I wanted all the Necrons and I guess some of the Imperial stuff. There's a lot of stuff I like in Stormbringer magazine, so shall we break it down? Order, obviously, it's Stormcast versus Cruel Boys, the two main factions in this edition, so like that's to be expected.
I want to like Cruel Boys, and these are the nicest looking. I think these are the nicest looking Stormcasts. The other ones were more unique, but these are nicer, but
They are.
just so not what I got excited about when I was 16.
Fair enough, yeah. I mean, I wasn't too blown away by anything from this edition, although I do love the Stormcast Dragon stuff. And you
Yeah,
get
dragons are cool.
2 Dragon Riders, they're cool. And some of the Cruel Boys monsters. But the Order gets Stormcast, and they also get Sylvaneth and some Caradron
Sylvaneth are cool.
Overlords. Whereas Destruction, obviously the main part, Cruel Boys, then there's some Gloomspite Gits and a Man Crusher Gargant. Now that's one of the smaller Gargants, but it's still like a pretty good deal.
But the Gloomspites have squigs.
The Gloomspites do have squigs, which is...
I can see them right now. They're like right in the middle of the picture.
Lovely. Yeah, certainly looks a good amount. I'm not sure whether I'm going to be subscribing to this one, but it is tempting.
I probably won't subscribe as I'm still working my way through the Mortal Realms magazine and don't think I've done all the Conquest issues I have. No, I know I haven't done all the Conquest issues I have. So, because I'm one of those weird people who feels like when you buy something you should use it. I feel emotionally committed to each
I feel very similar. Then I look at my pile of shame.
I've got a spreadsheet tracking it. I think I'm at 35% and change.
Particular talent for like systematizing things like that I just couldn't imagine.
It's obsessive procrastination.
Yes, yeah, probably. But it is also being organised. Whereas I just have a huge stack of various kits that I may at some time get round to building, or I may just decide, I'm going to chop a few bits off this sprue and just use it in a conversion.
I found what happened? Oh, when I was looking for bases to practice basing on, I found another magazine. I found the Conquest magazine.
Oh no, they have a way.
It's like I found more models.
Yep. All right then. Well, that's the Stormbringer magazine. Okay, so next up, there's a few non-GW hobby news now. First one, D&D version 6. I play D&D, but I'm not a very technical player. So Peter, would you like to lead us through these? So,
I don't mean to monopolize the Not Games Workshop content, but neither of you care. It's. I don't think they're calling it D&D 6, but this could be like how. We're going back to Games Workshop again. This could be like how 40k version 8 or 40k version 7 totally wasn't 40k version 7 until like a year in they admitted, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a presentation recently that it was written for the customers, but I don't believe for a moment this was meant to convince anyone to go out and buy D&D. this was the sort this screamed of something you'd show investors, and then at the last minute or as they were making it, they rewrote it to be directed at customers because investors don't care where the presentation is directed. But if they made this thing as something that was obviously aimed at investors and they got leaked, I'm guessing nerds would have been screaming bloody murder. So they've released the rules for D&D for character backgrounds, which look interesting in that they're really trying to unwork some of the leftover contentious issues related to race and racial bonuses and racial things. In that, like, it's no longer, if you're an elf, you're obviously smarter than a dwarf, but if you're a dwarf, you're obviously stoic. There are a lot of dwarf families of miners and crafters, and there are elf scholars. And so in my mind, this improves something that's always bugged the crap out of me about D&D. My first two big D&D experiences were Dark Sun and Planescape Torment, which throw a lot of the rules of Forgotten Realms out the window in order to tell us a different story. But reading any of the D&D books after that, it looks like Forgotten Realms is the assumed default, and this idea of wizards not being able to throw spells off the top of their head whenever they want is ridiculous. This idea of clerics needing to stay in good graces with their god because their god is a physical creature who's there watching them and giving them orders is ridiculous. The gods in Dark Suns are murderous warlords draining the life of their populace in order to become a real god.
Sounds about right.
Sometimes they empower people. Anyway, so the new D&D looks to be switching the term race for basically background.
That's
And
interesting. I mean, so long as it doesn't like needlessly overcomplicate things, but gives you kind of more freedom to explore different characters, I think that sounds positive.
It also means that they can if you want to be like the elf barbarian who ran away and learned to lick knives like those new Miniac miniatures, you can.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all good, yeah. And we've got, it says War Machine Mark 4.
That, I'm getting less and less enthusiastic the more I read about it. But it just looks like they're 3D printing miniatures and putting them in boxes.
They're no longer casting them, they're just like regular 3D prints.
I mean, is that a sign of like the whole hobby to come, really?
I think it's to be honest, I think it's a sign that the War Machine people that want to go into hibernation for a generation or so of this. They don't want to cancel the game, because if they did, they'd just flog it on eBay to whoever, or not literally on eBay. They'd sell off the IP. I think they want to stick around with it and they want to keep it going, but setting up manufacturing in-house would be presumably a nightmare at this point in time. 3D print, something like Sinocast would be an option, but they're not comfortable getting tied into that supply chain, that business thing. So they could, I think you can 3D print plastic injection molds. They wear out super quick, but they presumably work for better than 3D printing.
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly widespread technology. Obviously, like GW are the best at it, but it's anyone can do it, really.
I mean, the Craftsman had a video where he tore up 2 drill presses to make an injection molder and then used a high temperature resin to 3D print on a resin printer the actual machine parts and injection mold plastic.
Very interesting, yeah.
So there's a bunch of ways they could do it, but just 3D printing the miniatures in bulk, probably the most efficient. If they get one of those medical grade 3D printers where you can print like a whole bathtub at once.
Oh, yeah.
But it's
That's
still so
interesting.
weird.
So, mixed bag then for New War Machine. What about, there's this new X-Wing Yavin expansion, but it doesn't have any new models, does it?
This is again weird. So weird. There's like no new X-Wing models. Are there?
Have they literally covered all of the Star Wars ones from the books? I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so.
I think they've covered everything from the movies and some of the books, and then some of the newer stuff that was introduced in some of the newer games they used. But,
wow, it's certainly a big range already, but I can't believe they're just like, oh, we've run out of new models.
Yeah, that's a bit much. It kind of reminds me of Hero Quest back in the day, where you'd spend money on what is essentially just like a booklet and some tokens.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Kind of want some models in there to play with.
Ideally. What? I don't know. I don't know myself what X-Wing's actually played on. Is it like a board? Is it?
Oh yeah, board. It uses something like alternating activation, so you'll both have like 4 or 5 ships at the most each.
Yeah.
You deploy your ships somehow by pilot. Each ship has a specific pilot with a specific initiative order, higher initiative better. Set up all your ships. Then during order phase, you put orders face down next to your ship. It's what uses that funny little dial. And then you go upwards or downwards, activating ship, and then maybe doing a special move and or attacking. So initiative's important, but if you have all crappy low initiative pilots, they can all get shot up. If you have good high initiative pilots, you only have a few of them, and they might act better.
Okay. Yeah, I have to say my eyes glaze over a little when I hear any rules being read out. So, this is why I'm not a big gamer.
We will find somebody with an X-wing set to torch you with.
Yes, if someone could demonstrate it to me, I might understand that way. All right then. Well, that's our non-GW roundup.
And none of them have announcements at NOVA Open. Is Games Workshop the only company that does announcements?
No other announcements for other companies. Interesting.
I think
there were some X-Wing
whenever
tournaments.
There's some new announcements due from GW, I think a lot of other companies they know they're going to be
it's the
like overshadowed.
Yeah, what's it like the Simpsons death slot in America? Anything that's on during the Simpsons is moved to being on at the same time as the Simpsons is going to have trouble.
Yeah. Well, next it's the BattleScribe.
So this is really...
There was a bit of drama.
It's like ongoing.
Yeah.
Jaimie, would you like to talk to this?
Well, essentially, it disappeared from the App Store, which prompted a lot of people in the hobby to wonder if GW had basically done its usual litigious thing and got it pulled.
That wouldn't be an unreasonable assumption to come to, but in actuality, it seemed to be more on the developer end than anything else.
Yeah, it sort of came out a little bit later on that it was a member of staff hadn't paid their fees on something, and it just... Help me out here.
Well, we'll move on to that one in a bit, but...
Yeah.
It's more of programming stuff.
Basically...
and that's like, just...
What we've heard is that developers are no longer continuing it, but the people who will be responsible for uploading the data will continue to update it.
So my understanding... I don't know where the desktop app comes from.
Yeah.
But my understanding of this is that somebody sitting in their basement, in between jobs, in between degrees, whatever, had free time, had an iOS developer license, and thought, I'll make BattleScribe for iOS and Android. They made it. And now they kind of want to go play with their kids or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're still getting money from it. And they don't really want to deal with the handover, and they don't really want to deal with the constant, hi, it broken. Are you sure? Yes, sure, it broken, fix it. That's a corrupted file. But it broken. Try saving it. So it's sort of, I'm coming more and more I'm torn between siding with the developer who doesn't want to, who made this software that basically works. And then their credit card expired because they don't do anything else with iOS, so they haven't updated their credit card on the iOS system. Yeah. So that's when iOS kicked their app off. But
so if you have it on iOS or Android, you're advised not to delete it.
Because you might. But it'll probably be fine in a week or a month because
I'm sure someone will step in. And
I don't believe the thread that they're getting £120,000 a month from this.
Yeah, that's a bit ridiculous.
If you're getting £120,000 a month from this, you will update it or hire someone to do that.
I mean, it is so strange that something that is so widely used can just get scuppered by someone's credit card expiring.
Yeah, that'd be as dumb as
it's so
Facebook shutting
weird.
down because somebody updated a DNS server wrong.
Imagine if like WinRAR did that or something. You can no longer get WinRAR.
Oh, fuck WinRAR.
Don't we just all use 7-zip? And it's
I
open
have
source.
used WinRAR since 1996 and no one can make me change. So the breaking news we had, as hinted at earlier, is that the dev just said, "Oh, this is embarrassing."
Yeah,
Apparently, an expired credit card caused this. But then someone said that the guy left and didn't reply to any of the data team's messages for 3 years.
Or he or she made an app, it works, they want to go off and have a life and play fetch with all their rescue
Nobody
dogs.
who's into
That
wargaming
makes
has a
sense,
life.
yeah.
Somebody is into wargaming and then retires. Anyway, yeah, but the app still works. What do you want me to do? That might break the app. Make a new app. we want rounded corners on all the interfaces. No, that'll break the app.
What?
So they just stop responding to emails, and the data team is understandably pissed that they're investing all this time and effort into something that they always have to presumably make it work with this app, and they have to test that it still works with this app before they release data updates. But
Right.
I mean, I haven't because I use BattleScribe quite a lot to like build like potential lists, and I did notice there had not been many updates in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
so the weirdest thing to me for BattleScribe that makes me support this thing of whatever is going on, the app software isn't being updated very thoroughly, is that they're still showing they're still showing Dice Bag Lady ads.
Oh, really? That's a long way back before Annie became Bad Squiddo.
I mentioned this to her once, and she said, "Haha." I'm like, "No, is it supposed to be Dice Bag Lady? Is this like the conventions who rewrite your branding to say Dice Bag Lady after you've paid for Bad Squidward?" And she thought it was just old, but
Right, okay.
so. But I mean, if it's using some funky ad system where it saves all the ads locally and it's not downloading them from the internet, hey, that's a brilliant technical solution to a problem of I'm just some guy between classes writing this.
Yeah, fair enough.
But it does mean when you don't update the ad for 4 years, the last people who paid you for when you don't update the software for 4 years, the last people to pay you for ads get 2 years of ads.
Lovely. So yeah, I think that's pretty comprehensively covered. The sky's not falling. BattleScribe will probably still be here. But
It is a relief because I think that BattleScribe is kind of the future of GW, basically.
BattleScribe and Wikipedia.
They're going to have to build something that is better than BattleScribe and better than Wikipedia.
Just offer the guy either money for the source code or lawsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be something they think of because the AOS app was much loved. I don't know what it's like currently, but people used to love that one. Where they've never got a 40k app right, and I don't think anyone's ever been happy with any of the solutions.
I mean, it's because they've got one eye on keeping the important stuff behind a paywall.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's a market for the codexes as books, that people want the book, but it will get really expensive if every time there was a rule change you had to go and buy like an updated book. So that's why they don't sell it. So then you need to buy the chapter approved book. You need to buy this campaign book, and you're spending like hundreds of pounds on books, and that's before you've even bought, painted, and fielded a single miniature.
Yeah.
So Warhammer Plus does tie into some voucher code. So if you've bought a codex or whatever, you can redeem it on Warhammer. They say you can redeem it on Warhammer
and
Plus.
on the app and stuff. But
So what would be crazy would be if they switched back to using universal special rules with no explanation other than what's in the codex, and you could make your army lists on BattleScribe or WarScribe, whatever for free with up-to-date points and power levels lists from the internet, so you don't have to worry about that. But then to get a pretty printed sheet, you have to be a Warhammer Plus member with the relevant codices unlocked for your account owned. And fate has cursed me by stabbing me in the back with a twisted muscle for saying all this.
Yes.
Nova!
So Nova predictions then. The Nova Open is obviously happening next week. I believe the UK time, the reveals are going to be Thursday at 1 a.m. 1 a.m. That sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm not watching that live.
I probably will.
I will be heavily sedated, and it will be wonderful.
But will you be watching it live? As I understand, you're usually heavily sedated.
Okay, so what Games Workshop have shown us, they've shown there's 4 games. Obviously, 40k, Age of Sigmar, Horus Heresy, and Underworlds that we're going to be getting previews for.
Somebody on the WarHammer Facebook group, well, somebody shared to the WarHammer Facebook group, was very angry that there are no Old World reveals and no Old World leaks. Which isn't how that works.
I don't think they will be showing any Old World stuff for quite a while yet.
Yeah.
So Warhammer 40k first. First up is Votan.
This year. They gotta be this year.
Of course.
They've got
they
almost
said
everything.
this autumn.
Yeah.
So they've got almost everything I think you would need. They don't have a transport, or if they do have or if that thing that looks like it's out of the Aliens movie, if that's the transport, then they don't have like a battle tank. I don't think they're going to do the AdMech flyer thing of having it be a flyer, tank, and transport.
See, I would like to see them sort of go back to the old squat aesthetic and have their tank be like a modified Rhino.
That would be cool.
I keep thinking of
something that looks like it's been completely modded out, but it's still at its core, like the
yeah.
chassis of a Rhino.
Yeah,
But yeah.
Votan don't have a flyer. They don't have any terrain thing, which all the armies have now.
Mind you, Sisters of Battle don't have a flyer. You know, not all armies get
No,
flyers.
not all armies
No.
get them. Although they have got
I
a
would
few
love to see
flying
a Sister Battle.
character, at least. I don't
We
know.
don't, though, have we do have Sisters terrain, and we do have some sort of Sisters display leader.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I reckon that there's going to be a launch box. Like, GW have got into the habit of doing these, like,
Yeah.
limited edition launch boxes.
Well,
And I
starting
think
with the Sisters
Yeah,
one that
starting
crashed,
with the Sisters
that
one.
crashed their damn website.
Yeah, and I think they've been incredibly successful for them. So we're almost definitely going to see a Votan
Hey.
starter
Yeah.
box.
Look, people want to buy the thing at once and then not have to worry about anything else. But then once they've got the thing, they're
Yeah.
emotionally invested in it and they keep buying it. So, yeah, we should do this more often.
So Votan, yeah.
Yeah. Thing is, I'm not sold on the aesthetic. It looks to me like some sort of third-party company has designed something that can look like a squat, but doesn't quite look squattish enough to infringe on GW's copyright.
That
Kind
is
of, I mean,
a
GW
distressingly understandable take.
Yeah,
Like,
GW
I'm not gonna be-
purposely developed them though, because like the original was kind of a bit of a dead end, and they said that
Yeah.
themselves in that they dropped the range because they didn't know where to take it. Whereas this is a refresh, and they're bringing in a lot of the STC technology and the Men of Iron and stuff like that.
I mean,
think it's interesting, but it doesn't really grab me.
A bunch of cranky old guys in rune-encrusted space robot armor does have a certain appeal in my mind, but I can understand if that's
Yeah.
not going to fly.
I do feel that the model to beard ratio is woefully low.
That's another thing that people have complained about, but yeah, beards are easy enough to green stuff on. So there's that.
Or flock.
I mean, they could actually build beards into the sprue. Like, it's an option where you can just stick on a properly sculpted beard.
Instead of the
Yeah.
Forge, that could be the Forge World upgrade, just a bunch of resin beards.
Fake beards.
Forge World, offer us Votan upgrades that is just a bunch of beards, you cowards.
I would super
Even
like to
beards
see
for the
that.
robot people.
Okay.
I mean, on the Age of Darkness kit,
And beards for Age of Darkness.
but yeah, beards for everyone. That's
yeah, the
just-
Necromunda has the hairstyles that are interchangeable. Why not do the beards?
Exactly.
It's like the new tactical marines for the Horus Heresy. It's like their lightning claw is essentially just like an add-on that clips perfectly moulded onto the power fist. I mean, why can't they do that with beards?
Yes, yeah. That's
Clip-on beards.
Clip-on beards, the way of the future. Okay, so next up, World Eaters. Now,
I can hear you frothing with anticipation.
yes, I am ready to
Go!
to crush, maim, and kill. So we've only seen one of the Berserkers so far. I reckon we're going to see the full squad of Berserkers. There was some human meat shields that might have been Korngors in one of the leaked pictures we saw. I'd like to see those. Maybe Terminators. Like World Eater Terminators have always been big in the art, and obviously there's the special edition one coming out soon with the WarHammer Plus. But the one thing I want to see that we haven't seen yet is the new Juggerlord, because that is such an iconic part of World Eater's army. Like, when they did Tzeentch, obviously you got some sorcerers on disc. When they did Nurgle, they didn't do any Palanquins, and that might have been because they thought, oh, it's a bit cheap, well, we don't know how we can really do that old aesthetic. But they best do a Cornlord on Juggernaut, because it's so iconic. Does anyone else have any things they'd love to see in this?
My only thought of that... Oh, sorry. There's a...
You're just licking the bottom of the pretzel jar.
I need sodium. I'm anxious.
Understand
The Start Collecting Demons box set.
Is all corn.
The Combat Patrol
Combat
Demons
Patrol.
is all...
Yes, yeah.
But the old Start Collecting one that somebody in my D&D group is trying to flog, they think it's mostly complete. Yeah. But the... Sorry, Sean. Is got the corn characters pulling a chariot. It has a chariot with the... It has some sort of chariot thing.
Yeah.
And that's not in the Combat Patrol, and that's a weird change.
Okay.
They've got like a Chad Blood Fiend. They've got all the normal Blood Fiends, and then one of them has some extra kit on him and a wider base. And he's the HQ choice for... Or they're the HQ choice for it. And then they've got the Space Dog things, and they've got 2 things of Blood Fiends, and they've got Blood Fiends riding things, but the removal... Bloodletters, sorry. So the removal of that, hey, Amy, do you think that means they're doing some new chariot with a Space Marine riding it?
That would be absolutely amazing, but...
What noise would you make if they did that?
Space Wolf players, because they're going to want a new Logan Grimnar on a chariot.
Yeah. No, I would love to see like anything crazy that's kind of separates the World Eaters from the other Traitor Legions. I'd love to see, because I think Thousand Sons got a bit let down in that regard, even though we got some nice kits. They never really got like some huge special models other than Magnus, like they do.
Yeah,
they repurposed the Mutalis.
It wasn't so much new kits as just like updated kits.
Yeah,
it's like what the Eldar got. But there weren't any actual like new units.
I mean, Exalted Sorcerers, I think, were technically available in past editions, but were kind of like given the fancy new box with all the upgrades and stuff. And then the Scarab Occult weren't available before, but you could use Terminators before. So yeah. Okay, so that's Khorne. I'm super excited about it. World Eaters, Astra Militarum. Now we've seen some new stuff, the new Sentinel, we've seen Ursula Creed, we've seen the Cassicans.
Surprised about the Sentinel.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they... My sneaking suspicion is that when there's a significant leak, Games Workshop then shows it off, because after whatever, they understand that if there's a leak and they don't respond to it, someone else can 3D print, selling a 3D print that looks just like it and say, it's original. Your company didn't make it. So basically... But the Sentinel hadn't been leaked, so I'm surprised they showed off the leak when they showed off the Carskins. That was all I was going to say, I promise, sorry.
Yeah. So what we've heard about, before we get into discussing it, what we've heard about is there's a new Rogaldorn battle tank. There's some Rough Riders coming.
Oh,
and there's Cadian Shock Troopers. Now, Cadian Shock Troopers just used to be the name of Cadians, but apparently these are like a different one in between Cassicans and regular Cadians. I've got this off other people, what they've said, so I don't know if this is accurate, but what do you think?
I think they really just need to do something with Astra Militarum that isn't Cadian.
That
I mean,
would be
I know
nice.
that they're doing it with. We've got the Shovel Boys and
Krieg.
yeah, and
Were
there's
Rough Riders Krieg?
Krieg did have Rough Riders, and they had some very cool Forge World Rough Riders. But Rough Riders themselves could be fielded by any
they were
unit.
like
I'm
yeah.
super excited about this though,
Yeah.
because I used to love the old Rough Riders. They were just such a characterful part
They
of the
were
old
they were
Guard
like
armies.
white scars without the power armor.
Ponies.
Yeah,
They
very
were like proper like Mongol type.
yes.
Oh. Everyone's seen a Shetland pony, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And we're getting squats.
Yes.
Squat Rough Riders on
Oh, yeah, I see.
pulled
Or
by
maybe
a
it should be
Shetland pony
rattling,
chain.
rattling Rough Riders.
Yes.
So yeah, seems. I think there's a good chance we could see some more of that. Just to wrap up then for 40k, like I think as a wild card, there's always a new Imperium character.
Yeah, we haven't
It's
had.
going to be a Space Marine
We haven't
or
had
an Inquisitor.
a mediocre Space Marine.
We haven't
lieutenant
had
for
the
quite
Equal
some time.
Attention Space Marine release.
Yeah.
For the one faction that outsells everything else they make.
Either a limited edition Space Marine, another Inquisitor,
An
maybe a
Inquisitor would
Sister
be
of
good.
Battle. Like those are the kind of things you always get one of them at these reveal.
Yeah.
Right, so that's our 40k predictions then. Shall we move on to Age of Sigmar?
Okay, but I am.
We're
first.
getting done!
It hasn't.
Okay.
Okay.
Dawnbringer Crusade.
Yeah, we're not going to see a Dawnbringer.
We're not going to see Dawnbringer.
We're not going to see
Crusade.
Dawnbringer probably until around the Old World time, or sort of in my head hoping we'll see Dawnbringers and Skaven in the next launch box. But for now, we've got the Old World before the Fourth Age of Sigmar.
I mean, that's a possibility. So the reveals, basically, it's probably going to be another incremental update. There's going to be no, like, brand new factions. No Dawnbringers, Chaos Warden, Shadow Elves, or Vampirates that we're going to expect. But the two things that I would say to expect is there's the massive Slaves to Darkness release that we've seen some of. But a lot of the leaked image had a lot of other stuff, including multi-part new Knights, Warriors, and Chosen that were seen in the leaks. Obviously, as well, we've already seen stuff like the Demon Prince, the new Be'lakor friendly War Criers were out this week. Yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest part of the Sigmar release, but we'll probably get like one or two characters independently for other factions.
And there'll be like another battle box that's the two armies, the dumbed down,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
light rule book, which still frustrates me to no end. This teaser showed up during editing. This implies to me that it will be Seraphon versus Slaves to Darkness in the new battle box. As Slaves to Darkness are getting a lot of stuff, I would be surprised if Seraphon got a lot of stuff as well. I would suspect that just like the Fire Slayers and the Skaven each got a single new model, the Seraphon will get a single new model or maybe a new elite unit this round with more at a later date. And then one of the factions will have a new hero, the other faction will have some new members and a new hero.
Yeah, the Sea Elves, whatchamacalls?
Yeah, I don't think
Ideneth.
the Ideneth Deepkin, they haven't had anything this edition. have
Yeah,
they?
they could probably have a new character, I reckon. Other than that, I don't know what to expect because
Sky Dwarves haven't seen anything new this edition.
it's almost definite that Skaven is going to be the next big release edition, like faction to get a makeover. I think
really hope so because they're so unique and so different. But
I've already said I'd love the next box to be Skaven versus Seraphon, but I think they're going to keep to maybe Dawnbringers, but probably Stormcast for the hero faction. I don't know if they'll break out of that.
Seraphon haven't had a release this edition, have they?
As far as I know, they've had nothing at all since Croak.
But they're getting a Warcry release.
The Rumour Engine. Now, that looked very Seraphon-like.
Oh, sorry. Do we have a Warcry section in this? No, we don't.
We don't have a Warcry because Warcry is not at Nova.
Have you seen the Warcry teaser then?
No, I missed that, I think.
Or the teaser for them doing seasons of Warcry.
I might have seen it, but you'll have to remind me.
It's like talking about Warcry, rah, 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 and then zooms in and there's like a skink hiding in the bushes.
That could be good.
So,
We did see fairly recently, in the last couple of years, Skaven warband for Underworlds, but
yeah, sorry, not a skink, a chameleon. It was one of the that guy from the Warhammer.
So maybe it's the rules for those coming into Warcry.
It could be. I didn't get a good look at the pose, but the screaming on the internet is that there's going to be an all chameleons unit introduced in Warcry.
That would be fascinating.
Hey, is there an all chameleons unit in Age of Sigmar? I don't know. Hey, are we going to do the kill team thing of introducing some obscure elite unit to a new army by making it a Warcry set and then...
That would be a great way to do it, I think.
It's worked for Kill Team.
Yeah.
Those things are selling out. Unless they have Space Marines.
They've been done fantastically, I have to say.
Well, the one with Space Marines hasn't sold out, but it's old Space Marine kits.
Well, what can you expect? They don't give us anything new. There's new sprue, but that's about it. So next we have the side games, Horus Heresy.
Cool, I'll be outside.
I don't think they'd like to call it a side game.
Well, it's not one of the two flagships, but it's they're hoping to prop it up as a flagship.
Yeah.
So Horus Heresy releases, we don't really know a lot. We haven't heard any. Like almost everything we've heard about is out now. So
plasma cannons.
Plasma cannons. That's heavy one thing that's missing. The heavy weapon plasmas, but that's not. It's not like a huge thing to show off at the show. They might include them.
Kit is going to be an assault kit because they've had the heavy weapons, the special weapons. I think they're going to go for.
They could have jetpacks.
They could have jetpacks.
Yeah, they could have jetpacks.
He says, looking at my white scars.
I'm thinking, no, sorry.
So the
10th edition prediction that it would be Primaris with jetpacks.
Oh,
if at the same time Horus Heresy gets jetpacks.
That would be funny. But yeah, there's jetpacks as an assault. You could get boarding marines with the big shields.
I'm definitely having some of those for my white scars army. I'm going to equip them with combi flamers so that they can just...
Tammy.
Yes?
You keep calling these white scars, but they're all grey.
Well, why don't you look at the iconography on them?
Okay, so...
I felt very witty.
I think the Forge World land speeders and the jet bikes could also be a pretty good one to move to next. Since we've had all the regular sized tanks, it seems like
we've got
maybe
Proteus
Vindicators.
Coming out next.
Vindicators.
We've got the Predator coming out. We've got the Land Raider Proteus, and the Leviathan, I believe, is out now.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are like the next sort of.
The Speeder, Jetpack, Vindicators. Those are the smaller than massive things. We could get some of the bigger kits, but I think like when you're getting into like Mastodon and that kind of territory, it's a little bit big.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. I mean, the first vehicles that we got was the Spartan, the Rhino, and the Contempt Dreadnought. So there was those three, and then it was the Leviathan, the Land Raider Proteus. The Sicarian,
yeah.
So it looks like we're sort of getting them in like that sort of three. And
other things we could see is like maybe a new armor mark. They might save that for the next whole edition of Horus Heresy, but we could see Mark II because the Rhino has a Mark II driver. Like the vehicle upgrade sprue has like a Mark II armored marine on it. And I think a lot of people would love to see that.
Are these Mark III then?
Those are
Mark 6.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What would a Mark II be?
Mark II
is
be
Crusade armor.
Essentially, Mark III and Mark II are the same basic armor, but with Mark III, it's got extra plates strapped onto it. So they could quite easily do a kit of Mark II / Mark III, where you just get like the armor, the different plates.
Yeah, it's a similar look, but both are. Mark II is more like overlapping series of plates, whereas
Yeah.
Mark III is more like integrated
Yeah.
together.
But then when you look at like the back of the Mark III miniature, it's basically Mark II.
yeah,
So all of the
fairly
heavy
much.
armor's been sort of stuck on the front. I do love the Mark III look.
So the one thing I can almost guarantee we will see for Horus Heresy is another Praetor, because they
Yes.
give us one of those every time. It's
Yeah.
like
Which ones have we got
standard
now?
by
Which ones have been announced? Because
Oh, I've got no idea.
I know Emperor's Children, and I believe White Scars have a
Yes, yeah, there was
have
the
a
white
Praetor
skull.
and the new sets. They've got. I mean, Ahriman has been re-released for Thousand Suns.
Yep, yeah.
So it's characters for each legion. I mean, maybe we might see some World Eaters or
Could do, yeah.
something sort of coming up. I mean, there was a lot of mockery of the new Space Wolf.
Oh yeah, the new
Upgrade
Space
heads.
Wolf helmets, the
It makes them
pup
look like very
masks.
good boys.
I think I kind of there's that meme about the orc player realizes with horror that the Space Wolf player takes his lore seriously. So I'd love to hear that in Horus Heresy it's a complete
Yeah.
opposite, and the Space Wolves are like the ones screaming Leroy Jenkins while playing D-Day or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
If you want to age myself, I'm going to bring up D-Day and Leroy Jenkins.
I think
So-
Leroy Jenkins.
fun fact,
ages
they
you
both
more
happened
than
on the
D-Day.
same day.
Sorry.
Fun fact, they both happened on the same day. 1945.
I thought you meant
Nin-
I thought you meant
19.
A British soldier
no,
ran
okay,
ran up Normandy Beach going, Leroy Jenkins!
Well, on
no. There was
D-Day
a Scottish soldier who
1944,
brought a
so
claymore
unless
to
he
the
was-
damn beach.
Oh,
Unless he
okay.
was actually a year later than everybody else.
Oh yeah, sorry.
There
Sorry, my
was
bad.
some Half-Life mod that we were all playing when I was in. What was that? Something like D. It was some D-Day thing, Operation D.
No idea. I don't. Half-Life. I've played it.
One
a
of
couple
our
times, but that's it.
one of the guys in the hall, his roommate, because we had shared rooms, because for some reason we had shared rooms. His roommate got in the middle of the night, closed the door. The guy jumped up screaming, "Grenade!" He'd been dreaming about playing the video game.
Oh dear.
Anyway,
Okay. Anyway, so next up.
anyway,
Okay. Anyway, so next up, we have Warhammer Underworlds. now.
Cornbod.
Yes, yeah, we have the Dadbod Corn guy.
No, he's Cornbod, not Dadbod.
Cornbod. Okay, yeah, he's obviously from Underworlds because someone took a picture of a card.
Yeah, so I think the important thing... So they've dropped the Nethermaze branding from the Underworlds branding here, which suggests to me they're either going to announce the next core set or getting ready to announce it, which would be the correct timing because they seem to come out around the beginning of October, the end of October.
Yeah, that seems right.
The fun thing, though, that I'm going to beat my chest about is that in the bottom right of Cornbod's character card is the Nethermaze logo. So we know Cornbod will be released before the next set, unless production is screwed unless everything is screwed up in pipelines and production, which apparently is also true because the wide hat with dog guys, the Hexbane, there were stocking problems. But I think where are they going to? We got to see the whole Cornbod unit at least. They've sold. The Hexbane have already been up for pre-orders. So, why not sell everything now? What's next? I want to know what's next.
Yeah. What out of interest, does anyone have any predictions for what else is going to be in this Corn warband? Because they've got to have a lot of them seem to have the little cute creature, and they've already had flesh hounds in a Corn Underworlds warband. So, do we think we're going to get another Corn creature?
Flesh kitties.
A Corn gore, maybe?
Ooh, corn guy and horny guys.
Beast.
Dadbot and beast and horny guys.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that would certainly be good.
Something that occurred to me, at some point in the past that I can't remember. Yeah, anyway, so there was a rumor that one of the factions who was getting the releases was a faction that only had 2 releases up to that point.
Okay.
And then we had the box set announced with the Skaven and the Shadow Elves, and Skaven only had 1. They didn't have 2, and Elves had like 3 at that point. So what if the new faction that's coming up is ogres who also like to eat like the chubby corn guy? Because there's only 2 ogres in Underworlds. There's Man Trapper and Pirate.
That could be interesting, yeah. I'd like to see that.
The Battle of the Bulge.
Well, yeah, so new season coming up. Any ideas where it's going to be set? Because Nether Maze, what realm is that set in? Is that Shyish?
I don't think
Does anyone know? Because it was Gur before that.
So they seem to jump realms every two core boxes.
Yeah.
So I think this would be a completely new one. It wouldn't be Shyish because that was the first 2, and then Gur was the second 2, was Beastgrave and Beast Maze. Beastgrave and Diachasm. So we're now in like Aether?
Maybe. I'm not too up on this at all, so we can only speculate.
We're
really.
Terrible podcasters.
We don't know everything. Shame on us.
I should subscribe to Warhammer Plus and get all the familiars so that I feel guilty about my subscription going unused and force myself to listen to all the lore ever.
Yeah.
Every lore.
I did
all the
cancel my
ore.
subscription.
I am not cancelling mine because I want the World Eater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we've pretty comprehensively covered what we think we're going to see out of Nova now.
So now we have Nova predictions, and you can be ready for the Nova predictions when the Nova actually happens.
So, yeah, we're moving on to the new section where we're going to finish up the show by having a look at some of the other pieces of Warhammer artwork or hobby ink that we've seen across the internet that particularly inspires us.
And gone, whoa!
Yeah.
You can do that?
We call this section peer review.
Because at least one of
Although
us tried to be an
I feel
academic
quite
at one point.
fraudulent in this because there's no way I'm like on par with most of these things.
Yeah, well, we're just looking at other people and seeing what they're doing. Now, I picked out this one first. This is by Arnau Lazaro, and they do some fantastic work, but I just love this one. There's something about the sculpting of that tree, the leaves, just the way the Stormcast. I'm not sure if this is what the mount is. It's like a Dracoth. I can't see it.
It looks
clearly
like
from
it,
here.
but it could be a... Well, here.
It could be a customised one, or Pete's just handing me his phone to have a look. Mine is turned off because it kept on making noises. Yeah, so either this is a completely custom beast or it's converted from something. I swear that's not one of the stock ones, but I could be wrong. Let us know in the comments if you recognise it. But every aspect of it is just rendered beautifully. I think it's fantastic.
I think vines are understated in modern life, and
Yeah,
I'd like more vines in my life.
it just looks so natural, all the foliage. So.
I don't mean just in like Warhammer. I want the suckers growing in my house. So I don't know how elaborate the artist in question takes their artistry. So this was on the Facebook group for Blackstone Fortress. It's a set of Traitor Guard. They're done with a bluish gray almost armor plating. It's not metallic. It also matches parts of the guns, parts of the other weapons. So their ceramite armor is this bluish gray color. Their cloths are all red and well done and fantastically done. I have not even looked at their skin tone until now. The skin tones are varied, and I think that's Mournfang Brown highlighting the leather and some of their leather straps and bandages and stuff, just because I was working with that paint like yesterday. But it's both a vibrant color scheme, but also pretty grim, dark.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too fancy because they're just obviously
Yeah.
your basic grunts, but they're just really nicely rendered. I
It's
can see what
just-
you like about them.
It's this thing I keep loving of yes, I want it to be grimdark, but I also want to be able to see it and have it be jazzy.
Yeah,
and
they've got a
pretty and
nice
exciting.
cohesion factor, I'd say,
They-
and that it all ties together well.
They mentioned on the thread that they used a Cricut machine to get these little triangle details that cover the base, along with whatever detritus they added on top of that. If they have access to a Cricut machine, then I'm guessing this just isn't something they're doing over the weekend.
Cool.
So yes, they're cool.
Yeah. And moving on, Tammy, you've picked out these 2 Praetors by Dana Powell.
One's a Praetor in Cataphracti Terminator armor, and the other is a Chaplain.
Chaplain, yes.
And I mean, I've already got those models, but this makes me want to buy that set again.
Yeah.
Because they are just
They
so
are.
bloody cool. But
They are so flat, Tammy. They're
look at
so
them,
flat.
That yellow on them is just
That yellow is so flat.
yes.
This is
It's
the
like-
video where Dana Howell reviews
it's like
So Flat brand paints.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
they're
I thought
like
you were criticising them.
I mean, she was
same.
teasing these models on Instagram for like a week before the video came
Yeah.
out. And I mean, this brand of paint that she's using, I mean, and she's using it well because she's a fantastic painter. But this brand of paint, it's like the pots all cost different amounts of money. They're all at the
Okay.
same level, but because of the materials used, and some of them are quite toxic, you can't be a brush licker when you're using it.
Interesting. So
it's-
natural pigments.
Yeah,
then.
it's got like a... It's almost like watching her perform alchemy with all these like dangerous paints. But it's the fact that she was able to get such a fantastic yellow by building up from pink.
Yeah. I mean,
I think she's done that before, but
yeah,
that is a very good
The-
base colour for yellow,
Yeah.
and a lot of artists do use that. But I think it's really nicely done
Yeah.
here.
the concept of... Sorry.
I mean, it's just blended so well, and I know that's mostly Dana, not the paint, but the paint itself just... Oh, I want that kit. I'm not going to paint it with those paints because I am a terminal brush licker, and I don't want that to be a literal
Yes, yeah.
literal description.
I am a brush licker and I use titanium white quite a lot, and I'm probably going to die of titanium poisoning, to be honest. But what?
Yeah.
Have you
but-
met my son? My son, this little red tower that is painted with emulsion wall paint. How dare you speak to him in such way?
Oh dear.
Do not lick your paint. It's wasting it.
Yeah,
It's nutrition.
some lovely models there. Great video.
This is why you're losing your teeth.
No. That's more to do with night terrors and teeth grinding.
Oh.
So yeah, that's all the models we've got for this week. We've
I
had
do-
our discussion. So
I
is
do
there
like-
anything else you'd like to drop in before we wrap?
The paint. I do like the idea of the brand of paint that's just doing what it needs to do to be the best paint, even if that means the bottles are different prices.
Yeah.
Even if that means this bottle, toxic if you lick it. This bottle, not so much. Now we go back to the thing.
So yeah, that's about all we've got for you. We're Peter's gesturing vaguely at
It's
me.
using some form
I'm
of
saying,
semaphore.
I'm gesturing that I'm going to cut that chunk out, move it back a few seconds.
Okay.
So that I'm
Yes,
not
I
quite
understand.
derailing the conversation.
I am
But
not.
this blurb,
fluent
I don't
in-
know.
in
Maybe I'll leave it.
Peter's
Maybe I'll
sign
leave it.
language.
Yes, he's editing this one, which is
Yes.
a great relief.
I tried to learn
So-
McCann once, but
We've had a lot of fun here tonight, but have we learnt anything? I don't
No.
think so.
We learn nothing.
I have a new mini.
Nothing was learned.
Yes, I 3D printed it.
Tammy printed me a 3D printed mini from D&D
cool.
Stash. It's a 28. It looks a bit like one of the Zelda characters. It's got a big magic staff.
Tammy has also given me one of the Horus Heresy Praetors with some
I
like
have
3D
converted
printed
it for,
conversions.
An Emperor's Children.
Yep, so I'm going to paint up that for a future video.
What the viewers don't know is it's the one with the big sword.
It is.
Mm.
And he now has a...
Yeah, so it's been a
Which-
great episode.
Which
We've
one's
got-
Fulgrim's?
That's the third.
Third.
issue.
Yeah,
Emperor's
that was
Children.
accurate to the third lady.
Yes, yeah. Can I do a clean outro take without a sidetrack, please?
Shall I get the Nerf gun and just like
Yes.
keep it aimed squarely at his forehead?
That was very interesting, and if you can keep it in, do. But let me do just a clean outro, and we'll get rid of it.
I'll get rid of it, but I'm keeping this.
So thank you very much for listening. We'll be back soon, where we'll see what actually happened in the Nova reveals, see how accurate our predictions were. We have some more video content coming soon with Tammy and myself. With videos lined up in the near future.
And I have all the footage for one and sort of a script, but... I did it again!
And with that, we'll say goodnight. See, we'll end with punishment.
I've got my whippy sticks!